Yo, what's up? It's your boy Dizzy Vibez here, back on Vibe Control, where we keep the culture talking and the facts balanced. So, hey, I got another little deep dive into like another artist again. That's like a unique, misunderstood artist. That's like, I feel like a legendary artist from our generation, which is Hopsin, as you see from the title. If you ain't seen my last video on Capital Steez, I was a big fan of Capital Steez growing up. This is another artist that I was a big fan of growing up, all the way up from 7th grade up into like 11th grade. I wasn't listening to nobody but Capital Steez and Hopsin. Like, I know, and it's funny because I know I don't look like your ideal Hopsin fan, but I was that kid bumping Ill Mind like it was like it was gospel music, bro. I'm telling you, I was really. And if you know anything about me, yeah, my name Dizzy Vibez. I've been going by Dizzy Vibez since like 2018. That Dizzy in my name. If you know, Hopsin got an artist named Dizzy Wright. I was young as hell. I took that shit, y'all. I took that shit. I ain't gonna lie, I took that shit.
Stole that shit. That's what I do, nigga.
But in all seriousness, I did just hit 100 subscribers in a week, so I appreciate anybody that been tapping into these videos, man, and that's in for the long ride, because I got some bangers on the way for y'all, so I need y'all to like, comment, and subscribe, man. Let's get into the story about Hopsin, man. Let's get it.
Hopsin, what? That's Hopsin. Hey, yo, Hopsin!
Born Marcus Jamal Hopsin on July 18th, 1985 in Los Angeles, California, but he was raised in Panorama City. It's the same spot that he always shouts out in his music. And then Hop was the quiet type, man. School, skateboard, rhymes. He ended up going to James Monroe High School. He later got put in special ed classes, which he had got picked on for, but he had ended up speaking on it and said that it ended up making him sharper. And it's crazy, Hopsin started rapping at 6 years old, but he didn't take it serious until 2003 after catching a small charge for filming at school. But after that, it was like a reset button and Hopsin was locked in. And then later on in 2007, Hopsin would end up signing to Ruthless Records, run by Tamika Wright, which is the widow of Eazy-E. And now everybody should know who Eazy-E is. Cruising down the street in my 6'4". Docking that bitch, snapping up. And then it's like a bittersweet moment. The label would end up dropping his debut album, Gazing at the Moonlight, in 2009. But they would end up dropping without his consent. And then it got no real push, no real promo, and Hopsin said it felt like being trapped in a system that cared nothing about your vision. And then thankfully he ended up getting out of the deal after a lawyer realized that Ruthless Records had let their option window expire. Then he said, never again, I'll just build my own thing. And then if you a fan of Hopsin, or if you know anything about back in the day after he got done signing to Ruthless Records, he let hell break loose on Eazy-E's widow, Tamika Wright. Like literally dissed her in so many songs up until like the 2020s, I believe. Like he was just letting her have it still, full clip, full clip.
But I was like, but if I come with a dope enough flow and I bash Eazy-E's wife, that title just in itself has a lot of power behind it. And then people wouldn't have wanted to see new Ruthless Records artists, because be like, Ruthless Records artists, the fuck, what's Tamika doing? Huh? Nobody cares. But if it was like a rapper on Ruthless bashing Eazy-E's wife, like, oh no way, like damn, this guy's doing this shit, and he signed a label and he's still dissing him, he don't give a fuck. And I was like, fuck, because that was the only way I saw myself at the time getting big from that situation. Like I was pushed against a wall. I was back into a corner, so I had to do what I had to do.
But after getting out that box deal with Ruthless Records, he would end up meeting Dame Ritter and his brother Swizz, and they would end up forming the Funk Volume group together. And then Hopsin handled everything creative. The music, the videos, the visuals. Dame handled the business, and Swizz was the other early artist holding it down. They handled everything independently. No label, no cosign. Hop's videos were shot on small budgets and edited on old laptops, but they end up hitting millions. They would end up announcing his Funk Volume label with his song Sag My Pants. In this song, he would end up dissing a lot of mainstream artists like Lil Wayne, Rick Ross, Drake, and Soulja Boy, which later him and Soulja Boy would have kind of like a back and forth, but it wouldn't really go anywhere because Soulja Boy was trying to really wait till he got bigger, and then it just like died down. Nobody really cared by the time it had came. But Sag My Pants was like his first taste at real mainstream look, and everybody really gravitating to this video like, who is this guy with these white eye contacts and him talking all this smack about our favorite artists? And by 2011, that's where he released Illmind and Hopsin 4, where he ended up calling out Tyler, the Creator, and Odd Future, and calling them demonic and fake. Then the following year is when he would end up releasing Illmind 5, where he would call out everybody. Fake rappers, the party culture, and the lazy youth. It hit the moral crowd hard. And this is when Hopsin would become known as like the conscience of YouTube rap. And then like fans either loved him for being real, or some said he was being too preachy. And then this where the Eminem comparisons start flying in. They was there when he made Sag My Pants, and they started really coming in where he started kind of getting like political. Some people said that he's trying to be like him, and then some people said that he was just flat out corny. And then Eminem would never end up like really replying or saying anything about Hopsin, but then years later he would reply on his track like Kamikaze, like years later, saying that he inspired like the Hopsins, the Coles, the 5'9", like a whole bunch of stuff. So it's crazy that like no real beats really came from Hopsin calling anybody out or anybody like doing the comparison thing. And 2012 was just a great year for Hopsin. I feel like as an artist, he ended up joining the XXL freshman cover list, and then they ended up adding Dizzy Wright to the roster too. I think Dame had said he had found him at a show in Denver, and then another prominent member that had ended up joining the group was Jaren Benson. And Funk Volume was unstoppable at the time. World tours, magazine covers, and a loyal fan base that would come city to city to stop and see them anywhere. And then I just feel like it's crazy because in the end, Hopsin was independent, respected, and rich, and he had what most rappers dreamed of. But just like any story, this is where the cracks just start showing. So then by like 2015, Hop and Dame was bumping heads over everything: money, management, and control. Hopsin said he felt underpaid and unheard, and Dame said that Hopsin didn't understand the business side of things. And then Hopsin said it was tours where he didn't know his pay until halfway through. He said Dame was trying to pull too many roles. He was trying to be the manager, the label head, and the accountant. And then it hit a breaking point where Dame got to telling Hopsin that he didn't feel like he was working hard. And then Hopsin was like, how I'm not working hard when I produce, direct, and edit my own stuff. That was it. Hopsin left, and then Funk Volume died. After the fallout, the steam would boil over to like blogs and social media, and then another bombshell would hit. He would end up dropping Ill Mind of Hopsin 8, which will be one of his most explosive diss tracks up to date. He was calling Dame greedy and money hungry and comparing him to Jerry Heller. It was entertaining, but it was pain turned into poetry. And then it seemed like after finally taking a few hiatuses, it seemed like Hopsin was finally back, and he was ready to put his foot on the neck of the industry and the people that he felt like had did him wrong. Then later on, while touring in Australia, Hopsin got arrested involving a domestic dispute with the future mother of his child. And then it would be rumors that he had got extradited and banned from the country, but then it would be later confirmed that he would plead guilty to common assault and that he would then get a 2-year good behavior bond. He would later on drop Hotel in Sydney, one of his most emotional tracks detailing the arrest, the breakup, and how fame nearly broke him. Then he would later admit that he said some wild things out of anger, and then he would come to admit to fans and try to be fully transparent about the whole situation, and then saying that a lot of stuff got blew out of proportion, but then he still take like accountability for anything that he had did wrong. And then after Funk Volume had fell apart, Hopsin would end up creating his own record label again called Undercover Prodigy, where he would end up dropping his tape, No Shame, dark, honest, and cinematic. It wasn't radio friendly, but it was therapy on 808s. Then tracks like Black Sheep, Hotel in Sydney, All Your Fault would show his most mature storytelling yet. A lot of fans say he changed with his energy, and some say that he evolved. And then he will also add another track to his Ill Mind series, which would be Ill Mind of Hopsin 9, where he would speak on a situation with his son and not being able to see him. And then later in 2019, a live will surface of Hopsin trying to speak on the situation with his child's mom and trying to break it down to the fans in full transparency about not being able to see his child, and then the whole supposedly being banned from Australia and everything.
I don't want to be petty. I want to be a better person. I want to be stronger. I've learned a lot from my mistakes in the past, and I feel like everybody should. That's how you become, an adult.
Then we fast forward to 2021. Hopsin and Dame would end up sitting down after their whole feud and their beef publicly. They would call it closure. Dame said he would call it grown man growing up. And Hopsin said if he could destroy something in the public, he could heal something in the public. It wasn't a business reunion, but it was a human one. It was kind of just to show the fans and the world that you can still heal trauma without bitterness.
For us to have this conversation, to be sitting here right now, I think is just important for people, who are in situations like what we had to see us as like just be adults and sit down and speak about this stuff, even if some stuff does get uncomfortable or whatever it is. It's just important to have these kind of conversations.
I agree with that as well, but I think, in addition to that, it's just our relationship. Because I think as we talk about the story of Funk Volume, And I think even doing it now is different than doing it 3 years ago or 4 years, because given that we're 5 years removed and different things have happened and we've had different experiences, we probably would look at it different than if we talked about it right away.
And then a lot of people ask, like, where is Hopsin now? After all the chaos, he seemed to take a step back. He'd been seen over the years with like artists with like NF, Token, and Dax, but other than doing features here and there, he seemed to disappeared again. And then some fans say he retired, and some fans say he recharging. It been like posts asking about him like on Reddit and everything, and then I end up seeing a YouTube short like 4 months ago of him like in the park working out, and he just like, he just look like he just living life like on his I'm one with nature life type stuff. I'm gonna put a video up for y'all to see like how he doing now and stuff too. But his presence is definitely missed by fans. I'm always seeing like a post or something little about him, even if it's joking on him, it's like, where is Hopsin? And then yeah, the internet called him corny. He said he was the Walmart Eminem and his eyes was like doing too much. But the truth is, for real, to me, he wasn't corny, because I felt like Hopsin always stayed true to himself and his message, even through like the years and stuff. And then I feel like that's harder than faking an image for a label check. But yeah, man, if you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy my last one where I did it on Capital Steez and his 47 philosophy. Like I said, man, it's been your boy Dizzy Vibez, man, here on Vibe Control, where we keep the culture talking and the facts balanced, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe so I can get pushed up in the algorithm. You know how YouTube like to do your boy. Make sure y'all comment some more ideas down below, because I definitely am looking and commenting back to you guys. All right, I'm gone.